Okay, at this point in the world, I know that just posting a video with a title like that will make a lot of people angry for some reason. But hear me out, chill. Put the Shika-senbei down, I come in peace. Shikanoko sucks. Oops, sorry. I'm kidding, I'm just baiting you. That's me, my bad.
I'm gonna jab you with this metal spatula and you will beg me for mercy.
Shikanoko Nokonoko Koshitantan isn't shit. To tell the truth, it's actually good, but I wouldn't say it's one of the best, especially when compared to others in this absurd school comedy anime genre. I would say that it has its great moments, but unfortunately, it already took a one-way ticket on the Shinkansen of Oblivion, which affects 99.9% of the animes of the genre, as we have already talked in other videos. But wait a minute, I'm already putting the cart in front of the deers. First of all, if you are already subscribed to the channel, welcome back. But if you are not familiar with my person and the fact that on the screen there is a character with a voice like this and you still haven't clicked out of the video, thanks so much for being here. But why do I say I should really like this anime and maybe even love it? Well, when you watch enough anime, both you and everyone else automatically gravitate towards watching things you like, of course. And with that, everyone has their preference as to which topic they prefer to watch. Most people are fine just watching shonen and kids beating each other up their entire lives. Others prefer something more visceral like shoujo or josei, and some prefer something that's good for the soul like seinen. Your personality that dictates this. My team, the one I like the most, is called Yashikei, which is basically those rare animes that only exist for the vibes and the aesthetic. It's not a very extensive genre, so whenever there's a new work, it's like receiving a gift. And almost in parallel with this genre, we have another one that often mixes with Yashikei and slice of life when telling its story. I don't know if this team has a cute name, but you know which one I'm talking about. Around here we call them school anime with absurd comedy, which is your Nichijou, Saikiku Suo no Psainan, you already know. Basically those animes with the same school vibe that emerged after the brilliant creation of Azumanga Daioh. I have watched most of them and I really like basically all of them. The vast majority of my favorite animes are this. However, due to the nature of this team, these animes are almost always forgotten by the community, so even though I really like it, there is definitely a lost gem out there that I haven't watched yet, and that's why tell me now, and this is not a request. But anyway, I lost my composure. What I'm getting at is Shikanoko Nokonoko Koshitantan. Obviously check out the boxes that I would be exactly the target audience. An anime where the girl is a deer and goes to torment the school, and one of the first scenes is this. Screw editing videos in this disgusting Sony Vegas piece of shit. Give me this remote that I'm going to watch it now. You guys don't mind staying a few weeks without a video, right? Along with Vanilla Yashikei, this is basically my favorite team within anime, and it's not every day, not every season. Hey, it's not even every year that we receive a new anime of this style. So give me this rarity. Nowadays, it's very rare for me to expect something from a work, even though I really like this subject. I went to watch this anime with a completely clear head and okay, something strange is happening. This isn't normal. Usually the most these animes of this genre that are not called Nichijou, without having other words in the title, manage to reach in popularity are basically little memes and isolated gifs that many people see out there at one time or another, but have zero interest in knowing where all that nonsense came from. The anime in the team that launched and received the biggest level of fame in recent years was Asobi Asobase, and I'm sure most of you don't even recognize that name. So this amount of memes coming just because of an anime about a girl with antlers is different from the situation that has already become standard in this genre. The reason is very simple. For the first time, we see what happens when this genre, that is already known for being absurd, gives that bone to the limitless world of the internet. I mean, there is even a girl who's called Meme. There's no way, can you do that? You can't, man. And the internet fell for the bait like a little duck. At first, Talking and developing things around memes is like walking on a tightrope. That dude, nowadays this stuff doesn't even last 2 days and everyone has already forgotten. Now imagine spending months making an anime with a dead meme. How sad. In this case, Shikanoko managed to deal with it quite well, but did you realize that the season didn't even need to end and the huge discussion about the dear girl just disappeared? Of course, with the levels of fame that the anime had just with the opening, it's clear that there will still be people talking, but certainly fell in a very abnormal way if you don't know the problem with these gag comedy animes. If you watched the video I made about Sakamoto Desuga, maybe you already understood what's going on. Animes in this genre have a very critical problem in that the more quality and mastery the jokes have, the more embedded in the mind of the history of the world it becomes. But also, with every small joke that they get wrong, it's like a knife to the legacy of the work that may have even had a good start when it was released. People are talking about it, discussing about the episodes, that same thing that always happen when they are released. But as time goes by, the more jokes miss throughout the duration, more tons are placed at the feet while the body has already been thrown into the sea of oblivion. And this happens with all animes of this genre, and just by being on the middle of this theme, Shikanoko also suffers, will suffer, and has already suffered the same fate as its predecessors. The only difference is that, unlike the other anime, the deer flew too close to the sun, reaching peaks of popularity seen only once before. But the more people, the more mainstream, and the more superfluous things are attracted with this bet, the bigger the fall is when you don't deliver the expected. The same colossal numbers who like the work just because it's a trend are those who abandon ship at the first bright light that appears in the fog. Unfortunately, Shikanoko, Nokonoko, Koshitantan bet on this model and received all the results of that bet, the very good and also the very bad. To what extent referencing a meme is based and to what extent is cringe, yeah, focusing on that might not be a good idea. The humor model of Shikanoko, Nokonoko, Koshitantan is not so much about making jokes, punchlines and such, but rather about filling it to the brim with stereotypes and references, especially at the beginning, trying to not give you time to process what's going on or to really understand what you are watching, and making comedy out of it, making fun of everything that is expected in the anime, gaming and in the online environment in general. Basically little girl with big sleeves, it has. Reference to cat girls, yep. A short quick-tempered girl, yes, it has too. This is literally all one character. Imagine the density of the work as a whole. Tsundere, yandere, any type of dere, Naruto, Evangelion. It's no wonder that in the opening there was even a reference to you dying in Dark Souls. This way of dealing with humor is great for attracting people from outside. Then, how many times have you gone to watch something just because you saw an image or clip out there that something from a show, from a movie, appeared in another work, with that curiosity of no way they did that. Marvel printed billions on that alone, but being impactful in isolation and being impactful throughout an entire work outside of a scene is totally different. And what comes after that doesn't always live up to the expectation you create when you see something so absurd at first in just one clip. Here in Shikanoko, all these references, the stereotypes, satire to make you laugh do their job, but you can't depend on that alone, and they inevitably end up making things cheaper around them. Suddenly a good joke isn't as great because you can't take it seriously, which is a completely insane thing to say. Jokes aren't meant to be taken seriously, man. The less focus you give to the payoff of what's happening, less important that part that should make you laugh is. When you have millions of things going on the screen, maybe you didn't notice that somewhere there's a monkey saying, "Oh no." But if everything is taken away, suddenly the monkey becomes more important, even though it's the same thing. In the long term, this aspect of references hinders the work more than it helps, and in a few years it will be seen a very dated way, even though throughout the series this model of humor gradually gets rid of the references and return to the normal model of gags that don't need basis on anything else. In this theme, missing a joke is almost like missing a parry, and Shikanoko as this model of humor takes up a large part of the work as a whole. whole, I can't say for everyone, but for me, that love this type of anime, and for many people who abandoned the work quickly, it's a work that missed many berries, and this is fatal when we talk about the memory of the community in mass. Like all its predecessors, it's not a bad anime, but when you watch it, it's very clear why this work goes into the same mental box of the community that the other animes on the team go, and not into the same perpetual mental box as Nichijou. Like the initial hype of its fame made it seem like it was going to. Getting a joke right or wrong involves a lot when we talk about anime. It's not just about saying a joke, laughing, and that's it. It depends on a lot of things. There are those moments where several jokes that hit you are thrown one after the other in a cool combo that makes you feel like, oh, I'm enjoying this. But more often than I like to admit, in Shikanoko, the opposite is also true. And for a long time, you will just look like Linus to retire. It's never such a bad thing that makes you turn off the episode and go to sleep. But unfortunately, if you are not one of the people with the personality that coincidentally most of the jokes hit, you are going to feel a lot the size of the episodes getting tired just by reaching the end of a long episode. And that's the matter. Certainly, for someone, even the worst jokes will hit, and if by accident you are one of the people whom a large percentage hit and got a critical hit, you will simply love it and it will be truly memorable, and no one will be able to take that away from you. Unfortunately, I wasn't one of the people who received a critical hit, but as a connoisseur of the genre, there is a lot that may not have been a crit, but hit me. I didn't think it would be relevant here, but the last episode of the Yugo Kyara was so good. If you didn't get what was happening, I have a video talking about that, but anyway, it's impossible for me to say that it's a bad anime even, just that I don't love it. That's a lie, the asshole threatening to blow up all the sugi in the country, unacceptable, this shit is going to F. It's funny that someone literally saw this scene and thought, I think I'm going to make a whole story just out of it.